Well, hi everybody. I hope you enjoy some of the videos I've made. I thought of a really great subject that no one ever talks about. And this is where liberals and Republicans and Democrats and Republicans are always fighting. This is where like the Democrat will say, let's start this program for the poor or for the needy, or save butterflies, or save the wolves or the birds or something like this. And the Republicans will come in and look like bad guys because they don't want that service. So why is it that conservatives and Republicans don't like services or don't like government to do services, right? And so that's what the subject is. And I'm going to try to make a really nice, easy video about it. Okay, so it comes down to this. It comes down to motivation. The motivation between a business doing something and the government doing something. And I want you to notice one thing. People are always attracted to where the money comes in from, okay? Now remember that. Where the money comes from is where people have their most attention. In a business or in a service or anything like this. So you have a business owner. Business owner does this. He needs to supply a product that people want to buy or a service they want to get from him. So they give him money, and that's a way of approving of his service. Now, if he does a good job and he can do well, he'll make himself money and then hopefully make money to get employees. And he will expand it, getting somewhat votes or permission from people by them buying the product. Now, as long as there's an open and free market, you could have many people supplying that same service or product, and that will keep the price low. So, and at any time, if the owner does something incorrect, overcharges, they don't like it, it's a bad product, it hurts somebody, guess what? The people stop buying the product. If the guy has a car, is he selling cars? Someone dies in the car, say, guess what? People are not going to buy that car anymore, right? So anyway, so now let's go to the government. Okay, so remember, the motivation of the government is different, right? And now the supply of money is different too. So the money is not coming from the servicee or the person coming in to get the service or product. The money now is coming in from, you could say, the back door. It's coming in directly from the boss, right? So they need to make sure the boss is more happy than the person they're servicing, right? So anyway, let's get on with it. So the government says we want to supply this service, and they say everyone votes on it. Okay, fantastic. You hope that someone in the government can figure out exactly what it's going to cost. So they tax everybody, they get the money, they start supplying the service. Now, inevitably, remember, now in the example of the business owner just has to get more people to buy his service. So more people have to be happy with his business. But in the government's case, they get money from the boss, or bosses. So the bosses just have to be happy, not really so much the people. So, but eventually, the people supplying the service in the government usually want more money and more money and more money until it reaches kind of a limit. And then all of a sudden pops in a union of some sort, which explains how many unions there are in the government, because it's huge. There's unions everywhere. You got teachers unions, IRS got a union, firefighters, police officers, schools, unions all over the place. Union will come in and says, well, we're going to go picket now unless we get X amount of dollars and we want more benefits. And this is how government employees end up with tons and tons of benefits, way more than what you find with what a single business owner can provide. So now, of course, getting into the dirty secrets, everyone already kind of knows this. The unions always make a deal with the politicians and say, hey, we're going to vote for you and get you in office as long as you approve our extra raises or our new health care or our new benefits or our new retirement programs. And now this is where everything starts breaking down. And you can see now the government maybe shouldn't have been involved in this. But give you an example, big scandals now. The government does not have enough money to supply, especially in California, all the retirement money all those people need, right? And so they're just kind of staying afloat, but they don't have it. And there's been counties and towns that have gone bankrupt because they don't have that money, right? And now we're not even really talking about the servicees or the people getting the services. And their permission pretty much is out the window by now, right? It's just about how little we can supply the services and how much money we can get for that, right? Because the servicee or the people getting the service, they don't have any leverage anymore. They have no leverage to force the employees to do better. That's out the window now. And also, the service that they provide also ends up taking a big hit. And perfect examples are the Veterans Administration. And of course, if you follow the news, you found out that there was tons and tons of people that couldn't see the doctors, and some even died because they couldn't see the doctors. And of course, we don't hope that happens with Obamacare. But anyway, so what they were doing is, and remember, back to what I was saying before, follow the money. Where does the money come in? People will pay attention to where the money comes in. What was happening in that case is the government was giving them bonuses. But they could only get the bonuses if everyone was taken care of. So instead of taking care of everyone on time with the doctors, they were running two books. One book they would submit to the government saying that, hey, everyone's getting in on time and seeing the doctor. And then there would be a real book. I guess they would have to really make sure they called people back, make sure they kept up with people. But the real book would show you that nobody was getting there. In fact, I think the last thing was something like 800,000, or was it 83,000 people weren't even off the books, had never gone to see the doctors. But there's a government service that failed. And for those different reasons, two different reasons. The motivation of that service is not directed towards the people. The motivation of the servicers are really of how can I get more money from the boss, because that's who's really paying me. It's not the people themselves. But you can see failure after government failure and failure. Education, same thing. Education, the kids are failed. And so who do they blame in this case? They blame the customers, which are the parents and the kids. They say, well, the customers don't really appreciate what we're doing, and they don't send us smart kids. The kids they send us are not smart enough to put up with us. But it's because they have the absence of what the business owner has. The business owner has to get approval from the buyer. The government doesn't have to get approval from the buyer. The government just has, the suppliers of the service just has to get approval from the boss supplying the money, which ends up being the government official. And how they get his approval is they vote for him, and then he sends the money, right? See? So that's a different motivation. You probably can look at every government scenario and see the exact same thing has happened over and over and over again. I don't care what it is. I guarantee if you look and you apply this, you will see it there probably about 99% of the time. So, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. And I know it kind of got a little brain crazy, but I thought this was something that we just never talk about. We never hear anyone talk about this. So if you have any suggestions of videos, or if you'd like me to detail any of the smaller parts of this, I'll be happy to. And I will talk to you soon.